Lady calls me a liar, then spits my tea on me. I had another IDWHL experience. It's not as crazy as my last post, but I assure you it's just as entertaining. My friends who were also in this experience helped me write the story. They also came up with the pseudonyms, so it was not my doing. So some backstory. I was an employee at a little, yet popular cafe, which we'll call Cafe X, in my rapidly developing town. Unfortunately, I got laid off due to the pandemic. Understandable though, it was tiny. I get along well with customers, some of which I know on a first-name basis. The incident occurred at another cafe, Cafe Y, where two of my friends work. One of them, Mitsu, is a barista, while the other, Ciaran, was the manager. Cafe Y is way more popular than my cafe, so more people went there to get their coffee. I had had a couple screw-ups while I was working that day and was really beating myself up. My manager, who was worried about me, told me to clock out early today and to relax. We all have days like this. Just come back tomorrow with a smile. Honestly, I was annoyed that she didn't trust me to control myself, but she probably did the right thing. Anyways, on to the story now. I was tired and stressed out after being sent home, so I decided to go to Cafe Y in order to grab something and head home. However, I had forgotten Ciaran and Mitsu were working that day, which was a pleasant surprise. It was the slow period of the day, and the two were talking together. The moment I walked in, Mitsu joked about how rats in the store are a safety violation. She calls me rat. It's a long story. I flipped her off, a show of affection, and asked Ciaran for some tea, which he laughed and said sure. Mitsu and I sat down and talked, while Ciaran boiled the water for my favorite blend, green tea W/mint. A lady walks in, and Mitsu gets up to go take her order. As I'm waiting, I notice that the sugar at the sugar cream section was low. Wanting to help out my friends, I take the sugar out from the cabinet below, refill it, walk back to my seat, and start playing games on my phone. My first mistake. Obviously, the lady saw me and started ranting. The conversation went a little something like this. Cast, T, Toyakazu. Hey, that's me. M, Mitsu. C, Ciaran. EW, entitled woman. EW, scoffs. Wow, how professional of your coworker there, taking out his phone in the middle of his shift. People like him don't deserve to work. M looks around, confused. M, ma'am, I'm the only one here. Can I get you anything else? EW gives her a look like she's completely stupid. Edu, are you making fun of me? I can clearly see your coworker not working. She points at me. I haven't looked up, but I've been paying attention to the conversation. I speak up. T, ma'am, I don't work here. My second mistake. EW turns to me and walks over to my table. Edu, shut your mouth, you filthy liar. I saw you restock the sugar, and you shouldn't lie to your customers like that. Funny thing about me, when I'm tired and off the clock, I don't take shit from anyone. My general response is either sarcastic or condescendingly witty. Bad habit, I know. I look up at her, locking eyes. T. Lady, I want you to take a look at the logo on her shirt and tell me if it matches up with the logo on my shirt. She blinks for a minute, looking at my shirt. Then she snaps at me. Adieu. Don't you talk to me like that, you delinquent. You work here. Now I demand you get behind the counter and help make my order. I put my phone in my pocket, letting out a sigh. T. I don't work here. I'm not allowed to go behind the counter. I look at M, who nods in confirmation. M. Ma'am, he doesn't work here. She wheels around, pointing directly in M's face. Edu, don't you cover up for him, you little bitch. I saw you talking just a second ago. You're just trying to bail your friend out. Her first mistake. I immediately get up and walk up to her. T. Lady, I think you need to apologize to my friend. I'm very protective of my friends, especially people like Mitsu. She can't stand confrontation like this, and often would get anxiety from this kind of situation. EW wheels around to me, now shoving her finger in my face. EW, is that a threat? Are you threatening a customer? This is unacceptable. I'll have your job. At this point, Kieran comes out and places my tea on the counter. I don't know if he's been listening to the conversation or not. He just calls my order number. Immediately, the woman grabs the tea and takes a sip, assuming it's hers. Before I can tell her, she spits it all over me. You. What is this? This is not my order. She pointed at Miss Yublu. You are incompetent. I want to speak to a manager about you and your asshole of a friend. Then she throws it away, still screeching. Her second mistake. It's one thing to get mad over my mistakes, it's another to accuse me of your own. Before I can even get a word out, Sierran stops me. See, I'm the manager here. What seems to be the problem? EW gets a triumphant smirk on her face. EW, the rude employee here refused to take my order. And when I asked politely, he cussed me out and hit me. Then your other employee defended him while also calling me a bitch. She lifted her sleeve, revealing a bruise on her upper arm. Obviously from a previous injury or something, because I had not touched her at all. Sierran looked at me with concern. C. T, you did this? I can't believe you? My mouth dropped. T. C, dude, you know I wouldn't. But he lifted his hand, stopping me. C. I need you to come with me. We need to discuss your status as an employee. M. Don't leave either. Make her order, then come back too. He turns to look at EW. C. I'm sorry, but after your order is made, could I ask you to wait so I can compensate you for your awful visit? EW has the smuggest look on her face. EW. Of course. I'm happy management here is at least competent. Sierran leads me back into the manager office. He closes the door, then turns to me with a look of exasperation. C. All right, what happened? Immediately I realized he was on my side, and he was using his legendary theater skills to calm the lady down. I explain the situation, and he gets super pissed. Not only has this lady berated a customer, but also his employee, which just so happens to be his girlfriend. He begins to walk out, but I stop him. T. Call the cops. He looks at me, a questioning look on his face. I tell him my plan, and immediately walk out of the room with his approval. I walk back out and see Mitsu shaking, either out of anger or anxiety, I don't know, while the lady is berating her. I walk to her and whisper something. She nods and walks back to the office. The EW eyes me with triumph, and I glare at her. I check the screen to confirm something. Yep, I've got my evidence. I sit and wait behind the counter. EW makes a couple remarks, berating me and trying to antagonize me, but I ignore her. Eventually, the police arrive. Sierran walks out with Mitsu behind him. The EW's eyes widen in excitement as she realizes that her complaint is getting me in even more trouble than she originally anticipated. Sierran walks over to the officers, asks them to come with him back to the manager room, and tells the rest of us to wait in the front. Mitsu and I sit on the opposite side of the store to the lady. I check with Mitsu. She's fine, just a bit angry now. EW can barely contain her excitement of seeing how she got 2 delinquents fired and 1 arrested. A while passes, and the cops come out with Sierran. They ask for our sides of the events. EW begins first, painting herself as the victim, while accusing me of verbally harassing her and assault, even going so far as to claim I touched her inappropriately. The cops come and ask our side of the story. Of course, we tell it together because we're clearly on the same side. The cops think for a minute, then turn around. C1. Ma'am, I'm placing you under arrest. She stands up, flabbergasted. EU. I'm sorry, what? She points at me. He's the one who attacked me. Look at this bruise. She rolls up her sleeve again, exposing the bruise. The second officer, with an exasperated look on her face. C2. Ma'am, you do realize there are security cameras in this building, right? Her face goes white as she realizes her mistake. Sierran, Mitsu, and I share a triumphant smile. We all knew about the cameras, of course. They clearly recorded her yelling at us, the lack of me hitting her, and her taking my drink, as well as spitting on me. Sierran had shown them the footage when he called the cops back, at my request. When she protested that she never assaulted me, I told her it's assault when you intentionally spit a drink on someone. She protested, saying she thought it was her coffee. Sierran then shows the officer that the lady never finished her order, as Mitsu never entered. The cops arrested her and asked if I wanted to press charges. After the last time, a lot of people told me I should have pressed charges, so I did. She was charged with verbal harassment, assault, theft, and a couple things like disturbing the peace, etc. She was escorted off the property, screeching at us. We're awaiting the hearing, but I won't be posting about it. She likely won't make a scene considering she seemed to recognize it was a losing battle. I texted my manager later. She asked me for a description of the lady. She then told me that she would make sure that she never sets foot in my workplace either, as that could end up messy for the restaurant. She asked me that next time to act a bit more professionally, as that does reflect on the restaurant. However, she did agree that I did the right thing and asked if I got my tea. I said yes, and she asked how was it? I said it was great. It's my personal favorite. Green tea with mint and a pinch of justice.